Good morning, my dear students. In continuation to the previous video which I done on interactive Korn shell, here I am with you to discuss about two special files. Before going to discuss about two special files, first I need to recollect types of files which I said earlier. Coming to the types of files, so we have three types of files are there: regular files, directory files, and special files. Coming to the regular file, we also call it as ordinary file. It is the most common file in Linux. They contain only a data for storing a stream of characters. Again, there are two types in this regular files. One is a text file, another one is a binary file. A text file can have printable characters and you can view and edit them. So most of the case within the Linux environment, whatever may be the files which we are in a position to view, at the same time which we are in a position to edit, so we are calling them as text files, right? We create a shell program with a .sh extension, right? We can open that, we can edit, we develop a C program, so in an editor. So all we are call them as text files. So the text file, in the sense we can view and edit them. So coming to the another type of file, we call it as a binary file. Binary file, it contains non-printable characters, so which for example object files as well as executable files. So object files and executable files, we are calling them as a binary. So try to remember, these are the two types of regular files, right? Within the regular, so you need to remember text file, so another one is a binary file. Coming to the another type of file, we call it as a directories. Here a directory contains no data, but it keeps details of the files and subdirectories that it contains. At the same time, within the Linux environment, has a provision for organizing files by grouping them into directories. So within the Linux environment, we have a provision for organizing all the files. We can group them into a directory also. Here within the Linux environment, special directories like root directory, home directory, working directory, parent directory, so like this there are some special directories are available. Coming to the another category of a file, we call it as a special file. Special files, all devices and peripherals are represented by a file. So this is a most important point to be remembered within the Linux. All the devices which are connected to your computer and peripheral components which are part of your computer are represented in Linux environment as a file. So everything we are treating in the Linux environment as a file only. So most of the special files in Linux will be present in a directory, we call it as /dev. You try to remember, under the root directory there is one directory, we call it as a slash dev directory. So within this directory we can see most of the special files. There are two types of special files are available in Linux or Unix environment. One is a trash file. The trash file we represented like a slash dev slash null. Another one is a terminal file. We represent like slash dev slash tty. Right. So these are the two special files within the Linux or Unix environment. A trash file, so another one is a terminal file. A trash file we represent in the Linux. This file is available within the Linux environment under dev directory. So the file name we call it as a null. Right. So the null file we call it as a trash file. So this trash file is present under a dev directory. So this trash file is a special file that is used for deleting the data. Try to remember whenever you delete any data within the Linux environment, it will going to sit under a file we call it as a null. So just like within the Windows environment, if we delete any file, so it will be moved to bin directory. Right. So the bin directory will hold all deleted files. So in that manner within the Linux environment, so there is a dev directory. Under the dev directory we have a file, we call it as a null. So this null will hold all the files which are deleted in the Linux environment. So this thing you need to remember. So this file will be present under a directory, we call it as dev directory. It has very special characteristics. Physically, there is only one trash file in the system. For every user, there is no special trash file is going to be present. Right. So whatever may be the number of users available within the Linux environment. Right. So here for all the users there will be only one trash file. So this trash file is owned by a super user. Right. This trash file is owned by a super user. Super user means we call it as an administrator. We call it as a root. Right. So under root privileges. Right, if you have a root privileges, so we can move to the dev directory, and then we can see what are the deleted files which are present in null. Right. So this is about trash file. So another type of file, a special file, we call it as terminal file. These terminal files are also present under a dev directory. So all these terminals are represented with tty. Each terminal in Unix or Linux is named file such as /dev tty. It can be a 13 on or /dev tty 31. Right. So there is only one logic file. We call it as /dev /tty. So all these terminal files will be present under a directory. We call it as device directory. So /dev we call it as device directory. So here terminal files we call here terminal files means, so what are the terminals? File names can be present within the Linux environment means, so we can type a command who, right, and then we can see, so what is our what is my terminal, right? So who are the current users currently logged in order to know this, we can use a command, we call it as who. So when we type a command who, so by default there it gives what is a terminal name which is assigned for you, right? So /dev /tty1 tty2 or tty13 or tty31 like this, right? So the Linux is a multi user operating system, multiple, it can handle multiple users. So here for every user one terminal will be assigned. So when a terminal is assigned, so it will be treating it as a file. So that particular terminal will be treated as a file. So all these particular files will be present within a directory, we call it as device directory /dev, right? So you can use a command ls-l followed with /dev/tty. So you can get a long list of all the files which are present under dev directory, right? So this is about special files, two special files. So one is a trash file, so another one is a terminal file, right? Going to the another topic, we call it as variables. Try to understand a little bit clear. A variable is a character string to which we assign a value. A variable is a character string to which we assign a value. We are going to assign its variable means it's like a character string where we can assign some value to it. The value assigned could be a number, right? Whatever may be the value we are assigning to a variable, it can be a number, it can be a text, or it can be a file name, or it can be a device or any type of a data, right? So like this we are assigning a value to a variable. You try to understand, the value assigned can be a number, it can be a text, or it can be a file name, comma, it can be a device or any other type of a data, right? So another important thing, a variable is nothing more than a pointer to actual data, right? So a variable is nothing more than a pointer to a actual data, just like it's a pointer to your original data. The shell enables you to create and assign and delete a variables within the shell, right? We can create a variable, we can assign a value to a variable, we can delete a variable. All these variable names can contain only a letters. It contains letters from small a to z, or capital A to Z, or numbers from 0 to 9, or underscore character. So like this. There are two types of variables. One is user defined variable, one is user defined variable, so another one is a predefined variable. So there are two different types of variables. One is user defined variable, another one is a predefined variable. So coming to the user defined variable, these variables are created by the user. We are writing a program, we are writing a shell script. Within our shell script, we are creating a variable. User can choose any name. It should not be the same as one of the predefined variable. So one important point to be remembered is, so whatever may be the variable which is used in your shell program, it must not be like a predefined variable, right? So it must not be a predefined variable. So each variable must have a name. The name of a variable must start with alphabet alphabetic character or